team up in the air. Today, me and my teammates Megan, Andrew, and Merrick will be explaining our FEDD group project. In order to create a working hovercraft, we decided to follow the simple yet effective design process. It has the following steps: define the problem, search for solutions, narrow and select, build, test and check, and then you repeat the process. The first step is defining the problem. We had to create a hovercraft within a $40 budget that was able to navigate a 1.5 foot wide course, either remotely or through active intervention. The next step in the design process is searching for solutions. In this complex task, two of the problems that we were faced with were propulsion and lift. For propulsion, we used a simple fan from a standard remote control plane. For lift, we used a ducted fan from a remote controlled jet. The third step in the design process is narrow and select. An example of this step was in the designing of our skirts. Our first design was a simple straight skirt. Our second design was a more complex pocketed skirt. The final part of this third step was selecting. We ended up choosing the pocketed skirt. The fourth step is build. After choosing our skirt design and propulsion system, we began construction on a prototype, which was later refined in our final product. The last stage is test and check. After initial testing, we found out that the two speed controllers were programmed slightly differently.
There's a bag at the bottom.
To fix this problem, we set the speed controllers to the same setting. The final product. After all our final testing, we are left with a controllable and powerful remote control hovercraft.
Our two main challenges in building the hovercraft were related to a propulsion system and an uneven weight distribution. In our propulsion system, we used brushless motors, which are far more powerful than conventional brush motors, but with most brushless speed controllers, they are only able to spin in one direction. With our design, we wanted our motors to be able to spin in both directions to enable tank-style steering. In order to fix this challenge, we had to use RC car brushless speed controllers to enable our plane props to spin in both directions. Our second challenge, uneven weight distribution, was solved by the use of 9-volt batteries, not for power, but for additional weight in certain areas. Through our testing, we tried placing several batteries in various areas of the hovercraft in order to find an even weight distribution. Once we found the areas that the batteries had to be placed, we secured them with double-sided tape, making our hovercraft much more stable.
How we did at FEDD. Our project worked fairly well. It seemed to be the most technologically advanced hovercraft there. However, during our run, we went outside the track twice, so we did not score quite as well as a couple other groups. We still managed to get third place though. Our hovercraft had excellent stage presence and seemed to be a crowd favorite. Everyone liked the lights that were on the front of our hovercraft.
project did fairly well at FED, but there are a few things we could have improved on. Our hovercraft had the most power of any of the projects, but we were slightly outmatched in steering. This made our hovercraft more suited for a competition involving speed or multiple terrains than for an obstacle course incorporating sharp turns. Next year's freshmen should be sure to consider the task they are challenged with while constructing their hovercrafts. Additionally, they should make sure to start their projects early so that they do not feel rushed at the last minute. Our group worked on the project every weekend leading up to FED, but it took the entirety of that time to complete our hovercraft.